Okay, good evening to everyone. Magandang gabi. Can you hear me well back there? Okay, so magandang gabi po. So thank you very much for being here. It's always a pleasure to be in front of you, to speak before you. At katulad nung nabanggit ng ating MC for tonight, hindi naman tayo strangers sa isa't isa. And I always feel very privileged, to be able to speak, to the community of the Missionary Families for Christ. I was invited to speak today about the beauty of matrimony, and I entitled my talk this evening as Marriage is a Gift. Now, why is marriage a gift? Because first of all, we did not invent marriage. Marriage is God's plan for us. Kaya ang unang-unang dapat na maunawaan natin, marriage is a gift that God has given us. But at the same time, every gift is always a task. Why? Because even though all of us pray for a marriage made in heaven, di ba yan yung expression na lagi natin ginagamit, all of us want a marriage made in heaven, But beautiful marriages are not actually, it is planned by heaven, pero it is not made in heaven. It is actually made in the crucible of daily life. Kaya, if we begin with the conviction that marriage is a gift, we must also believe that marriage is a task. Kailangan natin itong paghirapan, kailangan natin itong pagtrabahuhan. And I would like to begin with this admonition from Hebrews 13, verse 4. Ang sabi dito, marriage should be honored by everyone. Can we say it together? Okay, ang sabi ng Word of God, it should be honored by everyone. Not only by husbands, not only by wives, not only by those who are married. Ang sabi, marriage should be honored by everyone. Why? Because the importance of marriage goes beyond the family. The importance of marriage goes beyond the individual family. The importance of marriage extends to society. Kapag iniingatan natin ang pamilya, ang nagbe-benefit dito, hindi lang yung pamilya. Pag iniingatan natin ang pamilya, ang nagbe-benefit dito, lipunan. And in fact, hindi lamang lipunan, not only society, even the whole world benefits from it. Kaya nga the Word of God says to us, marriage should be honored by everyone. Now lately, alam natin, merong isang young actor na medyo nag-viral yung kanyang sinabi. Bakit? Sabi niya, I don't believe in marriage. Siguro napakinggan niyo rin ito, Sino yung nakapakinig nung sinabi ng young actor nito? Sabi niya, for me, marriage is only a piece of paper. Narinig niyo ba yon? May mga, yung mga gumaganyan, yan yung mga marites. Laging nakikinig kay Boy Abunda. So during that interview, ini-interview niya itong batang ito, pero sabi ng young man, sabi niya, I don't believe in marriage because marriage is just a piece of paper. Pero alam niyo nung marinig ko, sabi ko, if marriage is only a piece of paper, then why are you so afraid of it? Diba? If marriage is only a piece of paper, bakit natakot ka sa marriage? Kasi we know marriage is not only a piece of paper. Marriage is a commitment, a lifelong commitment, At yung lifelong commitment na yon, hindi naman yan imposition lamang ng simbahan. It is not only a ruling. I would like to believe, and I would like to say that the forever demanded by marriage is not a ruling, but a longing of the human heart. Diba? It is not a ruling. It is a longing of the human heart. When the church says that marriage is forever, the church is not imposing a rule. The church is only articulating the deepest desires of our human heart. Di ba yan naman talaga ang gusto natin? No? Pakinggan nyo yung mga kantang kinakanta natin. Ano? Bakit kapag tayo ay nasa kasalan, bakit kapag lumalakad na yung babae, yung bride, at tinitingnan natin naglalakad yung bride, bakit nag-iiyakan tayo lahat? Di ba? Di ba lahat ng pag lumakad na yung bride, maglalabaso kayo ng cellphone at bibidyohan nyo yung naglalakad na bride, no? At titingnan nyo yung groom, no? Na nakatayo dito, titingnan nyo rin kung umiiyak siya. Nape-pressure tuloy yung groom. Tinitingnan nila ako, kailangan umiyak ako. No? No? Kasi pangit ang lalabas, maganda to. Pag naiyak ako, maganda sa same day edit. No? No? Pero bakit tayo naiiyak? No? Lalo na kapag tumugtog na yung koro, no? At tumugtog na yung kanta at kinakanta, ngayon at kailanman. Naku, kinikilig tayo. No? Now, kikiligin ba tayo kung ang maririnig natin ay, ngayon at bukas lang. Sumpa ko'y iibigin ka ngayon at bukas lang. Hindi, no? Nakinikilig tayo kasi katulad ng sinabi ko, when the church says that marriage is forever, we know that it is not a ruling but a longing of the human heart. And the church is only articulating the deepest desires of the human heart. Okay, now we continue on. When you get the family right, the world will also be right. No? Kapag buo ang pamilya, buo rin ang mundo. No? Ito yung dahilan kung bakit sinabi ni Pope John Paul II, sabi ni Pope John Paul II, the future of humanity passes by way of the family because the family is the basic unit of society. Now, let me begin by saying this, no? Marriage, as taught by the church, originated from the vision of God, no? Ano yung ating basic biblical affirmation? Genesis 1:27. Ang sabi dito, God created man in His own image. In the divine image He created them. Male and female He created them. And then, one verse after, sinabi dito, go forth, be fertile, and multiply. Now, ito yung biblical foundation ng marriage. God created them male and female, and then He gave them to one another, and then gave them the mandate to go forth, to be fertile and multiply, and that was the first declaration of the sacrament of marriage. Of course, the book of Genesis did not call it a sacrament of marriage. Pero we know on hindsight that that is the origin of God's vision for marriage and the family. And marriage and the family is part of the original vision of God. Okay? And then, anong sabi ng simbahan? Marriage is the primordial sacrament. Bakit primordial sacrament? Because yun yung unang-unang sakramentong itinayo ng Panginoon eh. Now, alam natin, meron tayong 7 sakramento. No? At every time na isineselebrate natin yung sacrament, ito yung dapat natin pansinin. No? Halimbawa, when we celebrate baptism, ang sinasabi natin, I received baptism. No? Pag ikaw ay kinumpilan, sinasabi natin, I received confirmation. No? Kapag ikaw ay tumanggap ng banal na komunyon, I received the Eucharist. Laging gano'n, I received the absolution. I received the anointing of the sick. I received ordination. Pero when it comes to marriage, when a man and woman gets marriage, we don't say, I receive a sacrament. Di ba? Anong sinasabi natin? When a man and woman gets married, they don't receive a sacrament. They become a sacrament. Okay? Magkaiba po yun. They don't receive a sacrament. They become a sacrament. Kaya nga sinasabi natin, yung pare, hindi siya ang nagkakasal doon sa mag-asawa. The priest is only a witness. No? to the marriage that the man and woman confer to one another. But once a man and a woman gets married, they become a sacrament. At pwede natin itanong, Father, a sacrament of what? A sacrament of the Trinity. Okay? Kaya ang sabi ng Catechism, no? The communion in the Trinity is mirrored by the communion in the family. Okay? The communion in the Trinity is mirrored by the communion in the family. Bakit? No? Kasi kapag ang lalaki at babae ay nag-asawa, they also become a trinity. In fact, when a man and a woman fall in love with one another, right there and then, they become a trinity. Why? Because love is always Trinitarian. Love is always Trinitarian. Father, bakit? No, tingnan mo yung reality of love, di ba? Sabi natin, whenever there is love, there is always the lover, the beloved, and the love between the lover and the beloved. No? So laging tatlo yan. At kaya naman sinasabi natin, God is love because God is also a Trinity. No? An eternal exchange of love, no? An eternal communion. Kaya naman, the communion in the family is a mirror of the communion of God in the Trinity. Kaya marriage is the primordial sacrament. Kaya in the words of the Scripture, masasabi din natin, no, in Ephesians 5:31-32, anong sabi ni Paul? For this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and clings to his wife, and the two of them shall become one flesh. Now, Paul quoted Genesis 2. Pero may idinagdag si Paul. Ang sabi ni Paul, this is a great mystery, but I am talking about Christ and the church. So ganun pala yun, ano? The union between the man and the woman, okay, is a mirror of the union between Christ and the church. The marriage between the man and the woman is a sacrament of the marriage between Christ and the church. Kaya nga siya tinatawag na the great mystery. Pero alam nyo, ang sabi ni Pope John Paul II in his letter to the family, this great mystery is being threatened in and all around us. Ito yung quotation, sabi ni Pope John Paul II, modern rationalism does not tolerate mystery. In particular, it does not accept the great mystery proclaimed in the letter to the Ephesians, but radically opposes it. The great mystery is threatened in us and all around us. Itong gift ng marriage na ito, what Paul calls the great mystery, is threatened in and all around us. Now, pwede mong tanong, Father, ano po yung mga threats na yan? Napakarami. But let me identify 3 things that threaten this great mystery. Number 1, I call it the normalization of the anormal. The normalization of the anormal. Father, typo yata yan. Baka dapat yata yan abnormal. Hindi. Marunong pa kayo sa akin. Hindi yan abnormal, anormal. Anong ibig sabihin po ng anormal? Anormal means the absence of norms. The absence of norms. No? A synonym of the word anormal is anomaly. No? Kapag may anomalya, ayun, there is an absence of rule. There is an absence of norms. At yung mundo natin ngayon, we live in a world that normalizes the anormal. Ayaw natin ng may norms. Ayaw natin ng may rules. Hindi ko alam kung sino po sa inyo dito ang nakapanood ng pelikulang The Shape of Water. Meron? Wala? Parang hindi kayo familiar, ano? So, wala nakapanood noon. Yun yung nanalong Best Picture. I think mga 4 years ago, no, in the Academy Awards. Best Picture yan, no? The Shape of Water. Pero ano yung istorya nung The Shape of Water? Very weird. Ang kwento doon, merong isang parang animal creature na nahuli ang US government. Mukhang shokoy. Basta an animal creature, a sea creature that they captured, and then they wanted to study it. Kaya nilagay nila sa isang facility. At doon sa isang facility na yon, habang binabantayan nila yon, may babaeng naglilinis nung facility na yon. And every morning, nakikita ng babae yung sea creature na yon, yung parang mukhang shokoy. Now, alam niyo kung ano nangyari? Sa tuwing nakikita niya ngayon, eventually, they fell in love with one another. No? And then at the end of the movie, there was even a scene where that sea creature and that woman even had sex with one another. Now, ano yung point ng istorya? Siguro nakikita niyo na yung point ng istorya, no? Love wins. Ang mahalaga, love. No? Ngayon, hindi na mahalaga yung gender lang, no? Hindi lalaki sa lalaki, babae sa babae. Ngayon, kahit na babae at isda, pwedeng magkainlaban, pwedeng mag-sex, no? At yan ang title ng pelikula, The Shape of Water. Now, that is metaphorical. Kasi tatanungin ko kayo, meron bang shape of water? Wala. Water has no shape, no? So everything is fluid. So yung title na The Shape of Water, para bang sinasabi nun, everything is fluid. No? At yun yung gustong sabihin ng pelikula. At yan ang naging best movie. Now, a society that honors the so-called shape of water is in very bad shape. Kasi kapag inisip natin na, yung absence of norms ay maganda, ayan, magkakaroon tayo ng problema. So that is one thing, no, that threatens the beauty of marriage. The normalization of the abnormal. At kapag nawala yung norms, we will normalize the abnormal. Okay? So yan po yung una. The normalization of the abnormal. Pangalawa, the culture of narcissism and hedonism. The culture of narcissism and hedonism. Ano ba yung narcissism? Yung an excessive preoccupation on the self. Alam niyo ba yung myth, no? Yung myth about Narcissus? Di ba yung kwento noon merong isang lalaki na napakagwapo, no? And then naglalakad siya sa forest. And then nauhaw siya. Gusto niyang uminom. So nakakita siya ng river, and then nung lumuhod siya para uminom ng tubig, nakita niya yung reflection ng sarili niya sa tubig. Nung makita niya yung reflection ng sarili niya, gwapong-gwapo siya sa sarili niya. And according to the story, namatay sa uhaw si Narciso. Bakit? Ayaw niyang mawala yung image niya doon sa river. Gwapong-gwapo sa sarili, poging-pogi. No, kaya mas ninais pa niyang mamatay kaysa mawala lang yung image doon sa river. Yun ang narcissistic. Di ba? An excessive preoccupation with the self. Kaya ang tawag natin doon, narcissism. Yan yung myth of Narcissus. Na paano mong malalaman kung meron kang sakit na narcissism? Tingnan nyo ang cellphone ninyo. Gaano karaming selfie ang nasa cellphone ninyo? Ayan naku, maraming tatamaan ito. No? Araw-araw na lang selfie ka ng selfie. Hindi ka ba nagsasawa sa mukha mo? No? Pero yan ang mga little symptoms ng narcissism. Too much, an excessive preoccupation on the self. And then, kapartner ng narcissism is hedonism. Ang hedonism naman, ang laging mahalaga, what is pleasurable for me? Kung ano yung madali para sa akin. Now, this is a threat against marriage. Why? Because when you get married, alam natin, the goal of marriage is not the self. The goal of marriage is self-donation, not self-preoccupation. No? Now, I will say something controversial here. Nasa unang dinig, parang hindi natin agad maintindihan. No? Pero this is what I will say, no? The goal of marriage is not your happiness. The goal of marriage is your holiness. Okay? The goal of marriage is not your happiness. The goal of marriage is your holiness. Why? Because if happiness is your primary goal, usually holiness is the first casualty. But if holiness is your primary goal, happiness will not be far behind. Kapag ang hinahanap mo lang ay happiness, karaniwan yung holiness, yan ang mawawala eh. Pero kapag holiness ang hinahanap mo, hindi nalalayo ang happiness. No? Now, hindi ka pwedeng mag-succeed sa marriage mo kapag ang lagi mong iniisip ay yung sarili mong kapakanan, kung ano yung masarap sa'yo, kung ano yung madali sa'yo. Lately, I was reading an article in the magazine entitled The Childless Generation. Sabi niya, we live now in a childless generation. Why? Marami daw mga young couples today, they enter marriage and they have talagang a primary goal not to have children. Okay? Hindi lang bawasan ang anak. Marami ngayon, nag-aasawa, talagang ang goal nila, ayaw namin ng anak. Why? Because children are a hindrance to my own ambitions. Because children are a hindrance to my own success and flourishing. Kaya ngayon, maraming mga couple, they would prefer to have pets than children. Merong ganong survey. At maraming mga young couples, they would like to be fur mom, fur dad, no? Pero ayaw nila ng anak. No? At nakikita na natin yung simptomas niyan, di ba? Maglakad ka lang sa mall ngayon di ba? Nakikita mo, no? May mga naglalakad, may mga stroller. Pero pag sinilip mo, ang laman ng stroller, aso, tuta. No? Hindi naman bata. Meron ako nakausap, ang sabi ng isang young woman, sabi niya, mas gusto parang niya ang aso. Kasi yung mga aso, they are always loyal. They always give back the love that you give them. Sabi niya, yung mga anak, di ba yung mga anak, hindi naman, minsan mamahalin mo, hindi naman ibabalik yung pagmamahal mo. Kaya mas maganda pa ang aso. Kasi yung aso, laging faithful. Laging nagre-reciprocate ng pagmamahal. Alam niyo, nang marinig ko yun, nalungkot ako. Kasi sabi ko, if we begin to embrace this kind of a worldview, we will begin to lose our humanity. Bakit? Di ba, bakit ba tayo nagiging human? We become human because we are capable of loving even those who do not return their love, our love. We become human because we are able to love even those who do not reciprocate our love. Yan ang glory of human love di ba gano'n naman ang mga bata? Di ba sa simula, yung mga anak, napaka-selfish, hindi naman ibinabalik yung pagmamahal mo, pero that is precisely the glory of parental love, the glory of human love. And that is what makes us closest to the love of God. Because we are able to love even those who do not immediately return our love. Kaya kapag niyakap natin yung mentalidad na, mas gusto ko ang mga tuta, dahil buti pa sila, laging binabalik yung pagmamahal ko, sooner or later, we will begin to lose our humanity. Okay? Pero yan ang mga simptomas na ang preoccupation natin is our own happiness, but not our holiness. Okay? So kaya yan, yung pangatlo, the triumph of choice and the trumping of freedom. This is another threat to the great mystery of marriage, the triumph of choice and the trumping of freedom. Father, ano pong pagkakaiba ng choice at freedom? Di ba pareho lang yan? Hindi po. Choice is a neutral term, while freedom is a moral term. Pag sinabi mo pong choice, choice is our power to orient my will to this or that option. Yun ang choice. The power to orient my will to this or that option. Kaya, I can orient my will to do evil. I can orient my will to do good. Choice yan. Pero pag sinabi niyo pong freedom, freedom is a moral term. Kasi freedom is when you orient your choice to what is true, good, and beautiful. Nakita niyo po ang difference? When you orient your power of choice to what is true, good, and beautiful, then it becomes freedom. Then you will become truly free. So, ibig sabihin, freedom is comfortable with loss. Freedom is comfortable with limits. Freedom is comfortable with norms. Because you orient your power of choice to what is true, what is good, and what is beautiful. Kapag puro ka lang choice, you are not actually free. You are a slave. No wonder. Anong tawag natin doon sa mga nag-a-advocate ng abortion? Pro-choice. Hindi natin yan tinatawag na pro-freedom. No? Because freedom is a properly moral term. Now, kapag ang mundo natin, ang gusto lang choice, that will also be the enemy of the great mystery of marriage. Okay? So, ang kailangan nating yakapin, freedom, and not simply choice. No? So, ito po, these are the threats to the great mystery of marriage. No? Now, ang tanong natin ngayon, what is the biblical vision about marriage therefore? No? Now, para makita natin yung biblical vision for marriage, I would like to call our attention to Genesis 2:24. Okay? Can we read this together? Sige po, go. For this reason, please remember this one line. Because in this one line, we can see the whole vision of God for marriage and the family. Now, isa-isahin po natin. Una, for this reason. Anong ibig sabihin ng for this reason? It connotes a divinely willed purpose. No? For this reason, reminds us that there is a divinely willed purpose for marriage and the family. No? Alam nyo, any good thing is composed of two things, pleasure and purpose. Ano mang bagay sa mundo is composed of two things, pleasure and purpose. May pleasure aspect, may purpose aspect. Now, ano ang mahalaga? We should always put them together. Because if we only want the pleasure part and forget the purpose part, ayun, doon tayo nagkakaroon ng mga problema. No? Okay, let me give you an example. This is a quotation from Sigmund Freud. I was actually surprised when I saw this. Pero in one of his lectures, itong sabi niya, the abandonment of the reproductive function is the common feature of all perversions. We actually describe a sexual activity as perverse if it has given up the aim of reproduction and pursues the attainment of pleasure as an aim independent of it. Anong sinasabi ni Sigmund Freud? Hindi daw dapat pleasure lang ang hinahanap natin. Kailangan it is coupled with purpose. Kasi kapag pleasure lang ang hinahanap natin, that is the origin of all perversions. So, The book of Genesis reminds us that we should be purpose-driven individuals, not pleasure-driven individuals. Kaya yung unang-unang ipinaalala sa atin nung quotation from the Genesis account is, for this reason, there is a divinely willed purpose for marriage and the family. Pleasure without purpose, it will consume you. But pleasure with purpose will consummate you. Alam natin yan. Kapag ang hinahanap mo lang pleasure, you will fall into addiction and it will consume you. But couple pleasure with purpose, then it will fulfill you. It will consummate you. Okay? So, kaya kailangan laging magkasama po yan, pleasure and purpose. And that is the first thing being reminded of us, a divinely willed purpose. Pangalawa, ang sabi dito, a man shall leave his father and mother. Now notice, the term used is man. In Genesis 1:27, ang sinabi doon, male and female, He created them. Pero in Genesis 2, it is no longer male and female. It became man and woman. Bakit kaya? Kasi in Genesis 1, ang emphasis is the difference of the gender. Kaya ang ginamit na term ay male and female, He created them. Pero in Genesis 2, the emphasis now is the marriage. The marriage between the man and the woman. The commitment, the union, the indissolubility, the fidelity of marriage. Kaya napansin nyo, ang ginamit na term is man or woman. Why? What is the difference between a male and a man? A man is a matured male. Ayan. A man is a matured male. So anong sinasabi ngayon ng verse na ito? Na it requires a certain level of maturity for marriage to be successful. Okay? And you need to be a man and a woman for you to succeed in marriage. Hindi sapat na ikaw ay male and female lang. Kasi ang pinag-uusapan po natin dito, hindi lang physical or physiological maturity. Ang pinag-uusapan natin dito is moral maturity. Ang pinag-uusapan natin in marriage is not only physical fitness. Ang pinag-uusapan natin dito is moral fitness. At ano bang difference ng physical fitness at moral fitness? It means just because you can doesn't mean you should. Okay? Kasi physically speaking, if you can do something. But it doesn't mean that you should. Halimbawa, a boy as young as 10 years old can already drive a car, di ba? Pero does it mean that you should drive a car? No. Hindi ka bibigyan ng lisensya kung 10 years old ka pa lang, even though kaya mo na physically. Di ba? Just because you can doesn't mean that you should. No? A boy as young as 12 years old, no, can already become a father. A girl as young as ano bang age nagsisimula ang menstruation? 10? Meron na ba? Ganon? 10 or 12. Oh. So a girl as young as 12 can also already become a mother. Physically, she can already engage in sex. Pero again, just because you can doesn't mean that you should. Why? Dahil ang pinag-uusapan po natin dito is not only physical fitness. Ang pinag-uusapan natin dito is moral fitness. And being a man, being a mature man and a mature woman is important because marriage is the school of maturity. Marriage is the school of maturity. Alam niyo, meron akong kausap na isang young husband. Sabi niya, alam mo, Father, nung mag-asawa ko, naglitawan lahat ng mga problema ko. Ang daming problema, naglitawan. No? Pero alam mo, sabi ko sa kanya, alam mo, marriage does not create problems. Marriage reveals them. Okay? Marriage does not create problems. It reveals them. Bakit? Kasi if before you got marriage, you were immature and you were selfish, in marriage, it will become more prominent. Kasi nung single ka, hindi mo makikita yun eh. Pero kapag nag-asawa ka na, biglang lilitaw yan. Pero tingnan ninyo, once a man or a woman enters marriage, di ba all of a sudden, parang nagsisimula siyang mag-mature? No? Nung single ka pa, hindi ka naman nag-iisip na kung sino ang presidente ng Pilipinas eh. No? You don't care who is the president of the Philippines. Nung single ka, hindi mo naman iniisip eh, kumusta kaya ang security sa lugar na ito? No? Kumusta kaya ang mga school sa lugar na ito? Pero nung mag-asawa ka, all of a sudden iniisip mo, no? Kumusta kaya ang ekonomiya? Maganda kaya yung mga eskwelahan dito? Maganda kaya ang security sa lugar na ito? Bakit? You begin thinking beyond yourself. You begin thinking na, meron palang pamilya akong iingatan. Ano? At yung makakasama ko sa buhay, ay, kasama ko rin siya, iingatan ko din siya. No? Kaya nga sinabi ko, marriage is the school of maturity. I have here, I think, no? Yeah, so man, no, it implies personal maturity. I think I have here a video, okay, that I want to show to you. Let me set up this video. Malamang baka napanood nyo na rin ito no? Nag-viral ito Ito yung tinatawag nating same-day edit kapag may mga ikinakasal, no? It's an ordinary wedding, pero it became extraordinary because of the couples who were in it, no? So, sige, panoorin na lang po natin at makikita nyo kung bakit nag-viral, no? Itong wedding video na ito. Ayan, no? So, yan. Teka, hindi yata nakaset yung audio, ha? Isa-set lang po natin. Buti na lang, meron tayong tech guy dito. Oop. Okay na.
Alam mo.
Ayan, okay. Sige. Okay, start na. Okay, sige po.
Alam mo, ang dami kong tanong sa Diyos. Bakit ganun? Bakit ako? Wala naman ako natatanggap na sagot. Pero ngayong nasa harap na kita, alam ko na ikaw ang sagot sa lahat ng tanong ko. Sa lahat ng dasal ko, sobra-sobra pa.
Waits for all of the way.
I will be everything you need me to be today and every day. I promise to be everything you need and more. I promise never to get tired of scratching your back. Kanan, kaliwa, konting taas, baba.
This is simply all about love. Hindi pinag-usapan dito yung sobrang ganda. Hindi pinag-usapan dito ang yaman. It's all about love.
Mula ngayong araw na ito, pinapangako ko sa iyo, hanggang sa huling hininga ko, sa iyong tabi, ako ay iyong mahahawakan. Mahal na mahal kita.
I believe I am the helpmate God designed especially for you. And I promise to be the arms that you need to reach your star, and the legs that you need to take the two biggest steps. My arms and legs were made to be the extension of yours.
Can't seem to
Okay. Oh yeah, you can clap. May pag-asa pa kayo. Oh, di ba? No? Ang ganda nung sinabi ng babae, di ba? Narinig niyo ba yung sinabi ng babae? Sabi niya, my arms and my legs were created to be the extension of yours. Alam niyo, ganun naman talaga ang marriage eh. You did not marry a perfect man or woman. Okay? Baka minsan yung napangasawa mo is not only a man short physically. He may be short in faith. No? Kanina narinig ko yung MC natin, sabi niya, no, nung mapangasawa ko yung asawa ko, siya yung nag-evangelize sa akin. Totoo yun. Minsan yung mapapangasawa mo, kulang sa pananampalataya. Kailangan mong dalhin sa Diyos. Pero that's the glory of marriage. That's one of the mission of marriage, that you bring one another closer to God. No? Minsan yung napangasawa mo, short on temper, short on maturity, short on financial capacity. Pero ano yung goal of marriage? That you support one another. No? And that you help one another. You become the helper fit for one another. No? Kaya nga kailangan ng maturity eh. And marriage, your spouse is your primary tool of maturity. Your spouse is your primary tool of maturity. Yung mga matagal na mag-asawa dito, I'm sure alam nyo yan. Ano? Why are you a better person today than before? Dahil pinagtiyagaan ako ng asawa ko. Di ba, kuya? O, sabi ni kuya, tinuturo pa niya. Dahil sa misis ko, pinagtiyagaan ako. Buti na lang hindi ako agad binitiwan. But that is actually the glory of marriage. You know, I would often tell young couples that do you know that one of your goal in marriage is to make sure that your spouse gets to heaven? Lagi ko sinasabi sa kanila, do you know that one of your primary goal and responsibility is to make sure that your spouse goes to heaven? Kapag ikaw ay humarap sa Diyos, palagay ko yan ang isa sa mga itatanong sa ng Panginoon. Nasaan yung asawa mo? What did you do in order to make your spouse a better person? Kaya, how much maturity does marriage require? And how much fidelity does marriage require for you to aid and help one another grow into a more mature individual? No? Kaya ang sabi nung book of Genesis, no, a man, no, it demands personal maturity on the part of the man and the woman. Okay po? And then let's continue. Ang sabi dito, a man shall leave his father and mother. Now, anong ibig sabihin ng leave? It means self-donation. The nuptial gift of self. Yung leave dyan, hindi ibig sabihin na iiwan mo. yung spouse mo, hindi. Leaving means you will leave your self-preoccupation. Kasi bago ka ikinasal, ang mundo mo umiikot lang sa sarili mo di po ba? Pero once na nag-asawa ka, ang mundo mo ngayon hindi na umiikot sa sarili mo. Kaya nga kapag kayo ay nag-asawa, di ba, sinasabi natin, pag-iisang dibdib. Because from now on, no, your dreams will become her dreams. Your hopes will become her hopes. And you will live a life together. No? And you must be able to leave your self-preoccupation and expand your world beyond your personal preoccupation. That is the only way that your marriage can become successful. Yun ang ibig sabihin ng self-donation and the nuptial gift of self. And it will demand your willingness to suffer for your spouse. Alam niyo, lagi nating naririnig, siguro para magtagal yung aming relationship, dapat compatible kami. No? Now, totoo naman, compatibility is important. Pero ano ba yung compatibility? Pag tinanong mo yung mga tao, sasabihin nila, compatibility is, kapag pareho kayo ng gusto, no? You have the same likes and dislikes, you are compatible with one another. But do you know that is not the real meaning of compatibility? Compatibility comes from the word cum and patior. Cum means with. Patior means to suffer. So cum patior actually means to suffer with. And so compatibility actually means my willingness and my ability to suffer with my spouse. Kaya naman pala magtatagal ang marriage. Because I am willing to suffer with my spouse. I am willing to suffer for my spouse. Kaya nga, di ba sa Tagalog, anong tawag din natin sa asawa? Kabiyak ng puso. Kabiyak. Masakit kaya yung mabiyak? Kasi kapag ikaw ay hinati sa gitna, nabiyak ka, masakit yun. Pero bakit natin tinatawag na kabiyak yung asawa? Kahati ko siya sa lahat ng paghihirap. At kasama ko siya sa lahat ng paghihirap. Yun pala ang ibig sabihin ng compatibility. And no wonder it will demand self-donation and the nuptial gift of self. It will demand that you leave your own narrow world and open your heart and open yourself to the person who from now on will become the object of your devotion. Okay? So yan po yung ibig sabihin ng leave. No? Kaya yung Christian couple, laging ikinakasal at the foot of the cross. Because in front of the foot of the cross, we are being reminded that you must be ready to die in your self-preoccupation so that you can live out the commitments of your marriage vows. Leave. Okay? And then, father and mother. No? So he will leave his father and mother. Ano naman ibig sabihin ng father and mother? This would refer to the ideal model of a complete family. The ideal model of a complete family. Now, let me say this from the beginning. We are not wagging fingers sa mga single-parent families. Ano? Whether you are a single mother or a single father, we are not wagging fingers at you. Hindi natin sinasabi na, makasalanan ka. Hindi natin sinasabi na, mali ang sitwasyon mo. Hindi. Dahil alam natin, there are many single-parent families who are single-parent families not because of their own fault. Maraming single-parent families because they were unjustly abandoned by their spouse. Pero ano lang ang sinasabi natin dito? Even though alam natin it's a reality that there are single-parent families, sana malinaw pa rin sa atin that we must long for the ideal of establishing a family where there is a father and a mother committed to one another for life and committed for the upbringing of their children. This is not only a biblical ruling. This is not only a church commandment. No? Even sociological and psychological studies confirm that children flourish better in a family where there is a father and a mother. No? That is a psychological and sociological fact. No? Base yan sa pag-aaral. No? Kaya mahalaga na nauunawaan din natin na sana yung ating lipunan pinangangalagaan na sana ang bawat pamilya sisikapin nating nananatiling buo. No? Kaya nga nilalabanan natin yung divorce. Why? Because we do not believe that divorce is the solution to problematic families. No? Because divorce will only provide band-aid solution. But the problem is still there. In fact, baka the problem will even multiply. Pero what do we believe in? We believe that proper formation and education in love, which should happen even before the marriage date, yun ang dapat nating gawin. We do not believe in dissolving marriage. We believe in strengthening marriage. Because we are convinced that this is the ideal model of a complete family. That there is a father and a mother. And I have here a book, okay, now which has a quotation from a secular magazine, okay, entitled The Atlantic, okay? And then, ang sinasabi dito, the social science evidence is in. Though it may benefit adults involved, the dissolution of intact two-parent families is harmful to a large number of children. Moreover, the author agrees, family diversity in the form of increasing numbers of single-parent and step-parent families do not strengthen the social fabric, but rather dramatically weakens and undermines society. No? So, ibig sabihin, even sociological and psychological studies confirm that it is better not only for the family, but even for society at large, that we protect families remaining intact together. No? So, sana yun yung ating sama-samang pagtrabahuhan to protect this ideal model of a complete family where there is a father and a mother. Okay? Now, we continue on. Sabi dito, and he will cling to his wife. Now, ano naman ibig sabihin ng cling? It refers to permanence and fidelity. The permanence and fidelity of marriage. Mahalaga yon, because we do not believe in a throwaway society. From the vision of God, from the mind of God, He intended marriage and families to be together forever until death. Alam nyo, recently I heard a vow in the United States. Meron ako nabasang vow. Pinalitan na nila yung classical vows ngayon. No? Di ba in the classical vows, ang sinabi doon, and we will remain together until both of us shall live. Di ba? Yun yung classic formula ng marriage. And we promise to be together until both of us shall live. Ngayon, iba na. Ang sinabi na doon, we will remain together until both of us shall love. No? Until both of us shall love. No? No, isang letter lang ang pinalitan pero malaki ang implication nun. No? Kasi, ang tanong din natin nun, ano bang understanding nila ng love? Ang ibig sabihin nun, hanggat may nararamdaman pa kami sa isa't isa, we will remain together. Pero alam natin, dangerous yun eh. Kasi if we believe that the only thing that keeps marriage together is the feeling, ay, problematic talaga yan. Kanina, yung ating nag-share, you were talking about the wedding ring. Kayo po ba yon? Sino ba yung kanina? Yung talking about nawala yung kanyang wedding ring. Naalala ko yung kwento. No, merong kwento no? Merong mag-asawa. Every night, pag natutulog sila, hinuhubad nung lalaki yung kanyang wedding ring. Nakita nung babae. So, nasaktan yung babae. Pero hindi siya nagsalita. Pero the second night, the third night, and the nights that follow, nakita niya, laging tinatanggal ng lalaki yung kanyang wedding ring. Until hindi na siya nakapagtiis, sabi niya, honey, I noticed that every night you take off your wedding ring. And when you do that, I am hurt. Then sabi nung lalaki, I'm sorry. That is not what I meant. No? Sabi niya, do you know why I take it off every night? Sabi niya, so that every morning, I will put it on again to remind myself that you are the woman I choose to be the object of my devotion. Oh. Yun naman pala no? Para daw every morning, I will remind myself that I am choosing you. No? To be my wife. Di ba totoo naman yun? Di ba may mga morning nagigising ka, pag nakita mo yung asawa mo, ang itatanong mo, bakit ba itong pinakasalang ko? Di ba? Pero kung gagawin mo yon, you will remind yourself na, I am choosing you, no, to be the object of my devotion. Yun ang mahalaga eh. Pagpili. Kasi pag pinipili mo siya, ibig sabihin, kahit na walang damdamin, pinipili mo siya. No? Ano bang sabi ng Ben and Ben? Mahiwaga. Di ba? Pipiliin ka. Di ba? Araw-araw. Hindi niya sinabing mamahalin ka araw-araw. Ang sabi niya, pipiliin ka araw-araw. Why? Kasi to choose means, no? Pipiliin kita even in the absence of good feelings. Even in the absence of pleasant feelings, I will cling to you. Why? Because love is not an emotion. Love is a decision. It is a choice. Kaya you will cling. Okay? Maliwanag po yun? Okay, so let's continue. We are nearing the end. Now, sabi dito, he will cling to his wife. No? Hindi sinabing he will cling to the woman. Ang sabi doon, he will cling to his wife. Now, why wife? Because the term wife connotes sexual complementarity. The wife is the proper complement of the husband. So it speaks of sexual complementarity, man and wife, husband and wife. Okay? So it reminds us that there is a proper complement because your proper complement is the one that will complete you. No? Kaya nga even the term complement is the origin of the word complete. Kasi you can only be completed by your proper complement. Okay? A man and a man cannot complement one another. They will compete with one another. They will not complete one another. Ganon din yung a woman and a woman. They cannot complete one another. They will only compete with one another. Di ba? Kasi pagtabihin mo yung lalaki at lalaki, ano sasabihin niyan? Ano bang meron ka na wala ako? Meron din ako niyan. So magko-compete pa yan, hindi yan magko-complete one another, no? Pero put a man and a woman together, you realize, no? A man has something that the woman does not have, and a woman has something that a man does not have. But put them together, they can enrich and complement one another. And so this terminology of leaving father and mother and clinging to the wife expresses God's plan and vision for sexual complementarity in marriage. Okay? Kaya ginamit yung salitang wife. And then lastly, they will become one flesh. Now, ano naman ang ibig sabihin ng one flesh? If the wife means sexual complementarity, the word one flesh expresses fruitful sexual complementarity. Okay? Fruitful sexual complementarity. Kasi yung one flesh unity, ang tinutukoy po doon is the marital act. Because in the marital act, literally, the man and the woman become one flesh. And that one flesh unity brings forth a fruit, a child. At di ba kapag titingnan mo yung anak, literally, your child, no, is the one flesh union of the father and the mother. Di po ba? Quite literally, nakikita mo yung tatay at nanay doon sa batang iyon. And so the child becomes the one flesh unity of the husband and wife. And it expresses fruitfulness of that unity. In the terminology of John Paul II, sa kanyang Theology of the Body, ang sabi niya, a man and a man can also come together in a sexual union. But that sexual union is only a union of bodies. Pero sabi niya, when a man and a woman come together in sexual union, that is not only a union of bodies, it is a communion of persons. Because it is fruitful. And the child is the concrete manifestation of that communion of persons. Fruitful sexual complementarity. Okay? Kaya makita mo, itong one sentence na to, this conveys to us God's vision for marriage and the family. Do you want to understand how beautiful the beauty of marriage is? Do you want to understand the dignity of matrimony according to the vision of God? Remember Genesis 2:24, because that one sentence will remind us of what God intends for the marriage covenant. Okay? Maliwanag po ba yun? Okay? So I think that would be enough for today. That will be enough for tonight, no? So, do you want to live out the beauty and dignity of marriage? Let's go back to the original plan of God, to the original vision of God. The vision that says, for this reason, a man shall leave father and mother and clings to his wife, and the two of them shall become one flesh. Okay? So maraming salamat po. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your attention. So this is the time when sabi nila we can entertain a few questions if there are, no? So kung meron pong gustong magtanong, sige po, kung kaya ko pong sagutin ay sasagutin po natin.
Observation.
Angie, pabigay nung may kay Tito Joke na sa kanya yung mga question. Father, salamat po sa napakagandang information, additional knowledge sa amin. Actually, it's parang awakening on our part, tapos enlightening. Napakaliwanag ng pagkakapaliwanag ninyo, no? So, kung meron po mga quest na gusto nyong, meron pa kayong mga katanungan, Reverend Father Joel will answer your questions. Or you may, yung phone-in questions, you can send your question to 0922-550-5520. Any volunteer? Yes, ma'am.
Father, I know this is common nowadays. Can I ask your opinion on this? They said that co-parentings. Can I ask for your comment on this co-parenting? This is the norm nowadays. When the husband and the wife separated, they both have children. So instead na nag-aaway sila, they give time for the husband to be with the children. And sometimes both couples who are now married or in a relationship unite. So, dalawang pamilya nag-unite into one. Are you aware of that?
Yeah. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure na pareho po tayo ng understanding the co-parenting. Yeah, I always hear that, no? And co-parenting is a reality that happens right now, no? Now, is that something that is necessarily wrong? Hindi rin naman. Pero katulad ng sinabi ko po kanina, that is a coping mechanism that we are doing right now because of the reality of couples, no, who cannot be together, or of couples who are separated from one another, no. Yun nga yung minimum the minimum that we can do. At least, buti nga, may ability pa sila to co-parent, no? At least for the sake of the child, they are able to put aside, no, their personal differences and devote their energies, their resources in order to take care of the child, no? Pero alam natin na kahit paano yung co-parenting still does not compare, no, to the presence of two parents who are really committed together, no? Although co-parenting exists as a reality, alam natin it does not compare to the presence of both parents who are there together and committed to be together for life, no? For the upliftment of their children, no? Ang sinasabi lang naman natin dito is kung alam natin kung ano yung ideal, hopefully we keep on aiming for the ideal and we do not settle for the lesser option. Co-parenting is a possibility. Yes, it happens. Okay? But we know that it is a lesser option compared, no, to the ideal model of a complete family, no? Now, kaya yun yung prayer natin, no? That sana we will not easily settle, no? Total, pwede naman yung co-parenting. And so let's just settle for that kind of arrangement, no? So as much as possible, we pray na at least we still aim, no, for the ideal model that can be present. Okay? Kaya nga sinabi ko kanina, hindi naman natin talaga kinokondemn, no? Dahil we know that it is also a reality happening nowadays, no? That there are co-parenting couples. Okay?
Yeah, we have two phone-in questions, Father. Number one, how can we help those who want to get married but we know that is not mature enough for it?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first question.
Yeah.
And the second question is, what must I do to grow in our desire to give ourselves fully to our spouse.
Okay. So, yung unang question po, sabi niya, yung people who want to get married but they know that they are still immature.
Yes, parang
Kaya
yan,
nga yung sinabi
immature.
natin kanina, marriage requires a certain level of maturity. And therefore, if we know that we are not yet ready, there is no rush into plunging into marriage. Kaya nga meron tayong meron tayong formation, meron tayong pre-K na preparation. And in Familiaris Consortio, what was the recommendation of Pope John Paul II? Sabi niya, formation in marriage should take three kinds. Meron tayong tinatawag na remote preparation. So, ibig sabihin ng remote preparation, hindi lang ito yung preparation prior yung mga months before marriage. Hindi. Remote preparation is yung even when you are mga teenagers pa lamang, even if you are not yet seriously going into marriage, you are already undergoing formation and education in love, in anthropology, in sexuality, in the meaning of matrimony. So these kinds of formation and education, ito yung unti-unting nagpapamature sa atin. Maturity in all levels. Not only physically, but even spiritually, mentally, and psychologically, and even emotionally. So, yun yung ating starting point. We need not rush into marriage, but we want to make sure that we are mature and we understand what we are getting into. Kaya nga, kahit na tayo ay nagbabalak na rin na mag-marriage, meron po tayong tinatawag na canonical interview, which is a more in-depth kind of interview than pre-K na formation. I conduct canonical interviews. And in my experience, minsan in the canonical interview, doon mo madidiscover they are not actually ready for marriage yet. They are not yet ready for marriage. And there have been times that I really told the couple, na I don't think you are ready for marriage yet, Because in the first place, minsan iba yung idea nila ng marriage, So when they realize that, sometimes you have to challenge them, You can even postpone your marriage if you feel that you are not ready yet. Or minsan sa canonical interview, madidiscover mo may certain level of pressure. Kaya sila nagpapakasal. Pressure dahil buntis na yung babae. Nahihiya sila sa lipunan. Kaya kailangan ng magpakasal. Now, if that is the only reason,
Hello.
hello? Ayun. So if that is the only reason, yes, you can postpone the marriage. Dahil maturity is an important component. And then yung pangalawang question, what can we do to give ourselves?
What must I do to grow in our desire to give ourselves fully to our spouse? Tapos mayroon po siyang follow-up question regarding do sa minention nyo na yung tungkol sa you can delay the marriage, ang follow-up question is, any advice po for young people today na ayaw magpakasal, live-in na lang?
Yeah. Well, yung cohabitation, listen to the sociological studies. Because even sociological studies and psychological studies would tell us that people who cohabitate actually are more prone to separate. Kasi when people cohabitate, right from the very beginning, there is already the presupposition that this relationship will not last. Kumbaga, you are already beginning with the notion that this relationship will not last. Kaya the moment some difficulties set in, it's very easy to give up on the relationship. Kasi right from the very beginning, yun ang premise. If something goes wrong, if something becomes demanding, if something becomes difficult, then we can easily back out of the commitment. No? Yun yung premise ng cohabitation. Kaya sociological studies would affirm that something like 90% of those cohabitate actually end up separating after all. No? Pero right from the very beginning, if your premise is that I am entering this relationship with no turning back, that has a higher percentage of being a successful relationship. Now, will it be a relationship without problems? Hindi. Problems will always be there. Pero doon pumapasok yung sinasabi nating continuous formation. Preparation for marriage does not happen only prior to the marriage. Pero dapat yung formation and education in marriage should happen within and even after the marriage. And in fact, I believe it should happen more intensively when you are already married. Kaya yung ginagawa po ninyo ngayon, this community, what you are doing right now, these are formations that you are doing. Why? Because you want to, take care of the marriage commitment that you have with your spouses, with your family. And that, I believe, is the better option to take.